man. We're rolling and we're ready.
So you'll stay on Paul?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. That'd be terrific. And if you can judge it, I mean, you might even move in and out on Paul. Thank you.
We have speed? We have speed. Go.
Paul, congratulations. It is a terrific film, artistically, musically. The impetus, I mean, 14 years since Let It Be. What was the reason for this film?
The basic reason was I enjoy being in films. There's a feeling on a film set with all the creative people. It takes some beating. You know, when people are trying to put together ideas, costumes, makeup, acting sequences and stuff. There's a lot of things to be decided, and if you get a buzz off being creative like that, like I do, then that's probably the major reason. Second reason is I like being pampered.
Writing it. Did you wake up in the middle of the night with an idea?
No, it was based on an idea that from talking to a friend of mine who produced the Sex Pistols, a British group. And he told me that once their big album, some fellow was supposed to be delivering it somewhere, and he'd lost it. And the whole project was like, for a few hours, it was just almost up in smoke. And so I thought, well, I think that's quite a nice idea. So I thought, well, maybe I could imagine what would happen if one of mine went, with the various aspects, because these days it's pretty big business, and there's a lot of people involved, record companies, bankers and stuff, all stand to lose something.
How much money are you talking about losing in a master tape?
In actual fact, I don't really know. In the film, we suggested something like $5 or $6 million. I don't really know if that's true. In the case of something like Thriller, you're talking a little more.
Clever casting in using George Martin and two of your friends and your driver. The reason for that?
The friends' reason was there's a drummer in the screenplay, and I couldn't think of another drummer who could play it better at the kind of role, the kind of laconic with the sarcasm, than Ringo. And then there's a journalist who Ringo tries to get off with, and I couldn't think of anyone better than Barbara to play that, and they were both agreed to do it. And so that was just a natural, really. Some of the other, same with George Martin. There was a producer in the recording studio sequences, and I thought it'd be nice, actually, rather than getting an actor pretending to be a producer. It's not a major role. There's no big lines or anything. But the guy has to look like a producer and know how to act. So I like the idea of trying to get George to do it, because I admire him. He's a really nice bloke.
Ballroom dancing. I found as I was watching it that it was such a wonderful combination of childhood imagination, fantasy, and reality. Who started that concept, that creation, and then who took it on?
I've got a lot of memories of ballrooms from when I was a kid. I went to them, and I was never very successful. I'd never dare ask girls to dance. And I remember going with George Harrison a lot. We were the ballroom mates. And we always thought we'd meet someone terrific and dance the night away. We never did, just never dared to do it. It was always the last waltz. It was the only one we ever did. Oh no, it's time for the last waltz. Oh God. And we'd grab some, can I have this last? And that was it, that was the kind of, and also then later, we started to play ballrooms. It's like, it's the order you go in, you kind of ballrooms, theaters, TV. And ballrooms was our kind of first step up into the big time, rather than just little jazz clubs or little cellars. Whenever we used to play certain numbers, there always used to be a fight. Actually, the number was Hully Gully. Do you remember Hully Gully?
Sure do.
Where we used to go, Hully, Hully Gully. And there'd have someone go, thump someone, a few bottles would go, and the crates would be in there. All right, lads, stop it. Oh, yeah. And we just persevere with Hully Gully,
But it's interesting because you know better than anyone. You went from pop to pertinent.
I like that.
created, well, you did, you created a
Popped the curtain.
subculture. And here in this sequence of ballroom dancing, you've got kids, and then you go to ballroom dancing, which the generation before the baby boom can relate to, my generation relates to, and then you get into the punk. And it's such a wonderful combination. Do you recognize that as your strength, being able to weave about 4 real generations together?
I don't know, you know, they always used to say about the Beatles that we had fans from 2 to 92, and that was really true. Somehow, people never seemed to just, our fans were never just in one category. So, I don't know, maybe that's right. Maybe I can sort of play with various age groups and still make it work. I've never actually thought of it like that.
Passages. Gail Sheehy wrote a book called Passages. I don't know if you've read it or not, but where you go from one phase in life to another, and life is such change. And certainly it has been that way for you, hasn't it? I mean, the early passage of growing up not well-to-do in Liverpool, and then finding this, you catapulted into stardom.
Yeah.
Feelings at that time, can you draw any of those? Can you go back?
Yeah, you know. Originally, I suppose we just felt like anyone else. I mean, we, the Beatles, just felt like anybody else on the street. You know, we wanted to win the pools, football pools, wanted to get a guitar, car, and a house. And that was it. That was the dream. A little later, we started to get successful. And I don't know, I mean, we had pretty big ambitions.
Did Brian Epstein draw you in, or did you all have the same motivation together?
No, Brian was a very big help, but there was none of this kind of Svengali type idea that people tried to put on it. We were very forceful lads, you know. I mean, you think John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison, I mean, all of them egomaniacs.
No.
Well, no, you know what I mean. They're pretty forceful.
But a workaholic, you are an admitted workaholic. When people around you can't come up to your energy level or come up to speed, how do you handle that?
I don't know. They seem to come up to the level. I don't know. I've never really noticed anyone who can't. Actually, I mean, you know, thinking about the movie, there wasn't anybody who didn't come up to speed.
How about in another part of your life?
Well, how I handle it badly, I suppose. If they don't come up to speed, I mean, I like to be on the same level. I suppose anything anyone does, you don't want there to be a bum in there.
Why are you driven, though, Paul? You know, you've achieved success in so many areas. What continues to drive you? Can't be money, is it quality?
It's actually just that I love to do what I do. I think a lot of people would do what I do as a hobby, and do. A lot of people try and write songs. I think why they do it is maybe in the beginning it's money, but it's not just money. I don't believe that anyone who writes songs is just doing it for the money. Obviously, that's a great carrot to put in front of people, and that's the carrot most people in our society tend to go after. But really, like I say, it's almost like a hobby. I believe if I didn't write music for a living, I would have it as a hobby.
Would you talk about Linda Eastman, McCartney?
It's just Linda McCartney.
Just Linda
That's
McCartney.
the American way, is to include
Yes,
the
isn't
maiden
it?
name. We don't do that in England.
Good for you.
But,
photographer, author, your co-star, co-writer, such a very talented
Mother.
horsewoman, mother. Talented lady. What is special about her? Why did you fall in love with her and not someone else who was screaming after you or chasing after you?
I've been asked this before, and really the two words that come to mind are woman, one. She was a woman, not a girl. I mean, I can't explain it any better than that. It was the first kind of woman. Well, not the first, but I mean, that was one of the things. And the other word, it was kind. She's got a lot of heart. She's a good kid.
Are you a good father?
I'm okay. Yeah, I try and be good. I suppose from time to time I might be seen to be a little strict, but I'm not madly strict, not in the real sense of it. But I feel a bit guilty sometimes that I'm a little bit too strict with the kids, but I know I have to do it.
One question, why did you file for the dissolution of the group back in '71? What did you want from that?
Well, what had happened was that we'd been a group for 10 years, and a guy called Alan Klein arrived on the scene, and I wasn't keen to go with him. The others wanted to be managed by him, but I wasn't keen. I thought it was a bad idea. So what happened was it sort of broke the group up, that whole thing. I'm not blaming him, but that period and those events broke the group up. And what happened was I said, I want to sue this guy, Alan Klein. I want out of all of this. And they said, well, you can't sue him. He's not a party to all the agreements. The only people who are actually involved in all this are your mates. So I said, well, no way can I sue them. I sort of went off to Scotland for about a year. I was standing on some mountaintop in the mist, you know, going, no, I can't sue them. And, but I couldn't stay in the situation. It was a real bad situation. I knew I was just going to go under. So eventually I just said, oh, all right then, you know. And it was the only way I could do it.
What's the best thing, though, that came out of Paul McCartney solo, off and running?
Best piece of music?
No, the best thing for you creatively now.
The freedom, really, I think, to do pretty much what I want to do, which is sort of everyone's dream, really. And I suppose I've finally reached that point where I can do that.
What next?
What next? I would like to make a kind of Disney-type animated feature for children.
Why?
Because I love cartoons. I love them. And I love those things like Lady and the Tramp. You know, I can still watch that real happily.
Me too.
I love all that stuff. And kids love it. Our kids all love it. And I think it's a great art form myself, that. I mean, I wouldn't be ashamed to be involved with something like that. And going out with Broad Street, there is a short of the character I'd like to make into a feature. It's called Rupert. So maybe we'll get that into a feature next year.
Great. If so, I hope I have a chance to talk to you again. Thank you,
Great.
Paul,
Okay.
very much. Congratulations. Terrific.
Thank you very
film.
much. Wonderful. You're not going to be on this?
No, I would like to have followed up on just a couple of things, but that's okay. Just on Linda and the kids, for one thing, because I wanted to break it up in 5 pieces and add footage and things. But
There's so much.
I know.
They're really
thank you
big.
for
Okay.
your time.
Yeah?
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
I do a lot.
I think you're probably still hooked up on it.